welcome to Salubrious Skin with Dr. Irene. Today I'm talking to you about journaling. Now, this is certainly nothing new, but when discussing the benefits of this with my patients, I'm always surprised by how infrequent people are actually doing this. So I thought I have to talk to you about it and encourage you to start journaling because it will truly change your life. The reasons why I think we perhaps need to be doing this is because we all live very busy lives. We have various responsibilities requiring different tasks to be completed at different times. With all this controlled chaos going on, often there is perhaps a little overwhelm and certainly a lot of angst to make everything flow smoothly. So if we keep everything all bottled up in our mind and trying to keep everything going and processing daily things that have occurred and friendships and hardships that we've got to deal with or whatever it is, essentially our mind is needing to process it all. But when we actually are journaling our thoughts and getting it all onto paper, basically we are alleviating this chaos that is flowing in our mind, and writing it on paper allows your mind to clear and take away the responsibility in remembering everything that needs to be remembered. So besides mental strain, journaling has been known to increase your IQ because the University of Victoria found that writing has a positive correlation with intelligence. So the more we write, the more articulate we are, and the more we're able to actually create that intelligence within us. The other thing it does is creates mindfulness. Now, we always hear about mindfulness, being mindful, being in the moment, being focused in the future creates fear, which leads to anxiety. Being focused in the past, that leads to depression. So if we actually stick in that moment we're in, we are actually free. We feel free. We feel our pressure alleviated from our shoulders because we're not worrying about anything that happened in the past, and we're certainly not worrying about unknown elements of our future. The truth is none of us know what's going to happen tomorrow. So worrying about the potential of future events is a complete waste of time. So by creating the mindfulness, it allows you to be in the present, reflect on your day's activities, which will help you look at better ways to do things perhaps, or encourage to do things similarly when they've worked out well for you, and really keeps you in line of being healthy and present. Now, the other thing it does, it allows you to reflect on your emotions and look at situations that have evoked an emotional reaction. Now, we all know we're people and people feel emotions, but the reality is that many of us either suppress our emotions, we're not in touch with our emotions, or we don't even know what these emotions or these feelings are. We can't articulate that this feeling is actually this emotion because, we may have been brought up to not feel that or not express it. As a little kid, did your parents say, big boys don't cry, or stop crying, or these sort of things? That means that we're told that those emotions are not right. But the reality is, as people, because we're not robots, as people, we must feel every emotion. And to really recognize that emotion is really important to our well-being. And more importantly, when something is triggering that emotion, whether it's a conversation we had or an experience we had, an emotion is evoked from that, why is that happening? What is it that we need to address to be a better version of ourselves when we're actually experiencing that reaction with our emotions? So journaling is great to bring your awareness around your emotions, allows you to reflect on that. It's also very healing and therapeutic. We all know that talking to a friend about a situation we may be dealing with or challenged by can be really good because we have a bit of a chat, we're talking about things, by actually expressing them and talking about them, we're problem solving it in our own mind, we're hearing back from our friend who's giving us advice, and that's really quite good. So think of journaling as your best friend. It's yourself. You are actually writing all your concerns down, and then you are then rereading it and can answer it as your best friend. And so it really allows you to purge any emotions. It purges those thoughts out. It can be quite cathartic to get out all those thoughts that are racing through your head. And when you are actually writing it down, you are creating a situation where you are dealing with certain situations, or on the flip side, really acknowledging the great way you perhaps did deal with something. Or if it comes to health, part of my online program is I encourage participants to journal daily, how much water they're drinking, how many veggies they've had, what is it that they've eaten that perhaps wasn't great. When it's women, talk about their menstrual cycle, where it is, how that reflects on their health. So obviously that online program is psoriasis and eczema. So how does that part of the menstrual cycle impact the skin? So, it really can be encapsulating so many aspects. It's not necessarily simply going, dear diary, today I had a great day at work. I got my work done, had some great chats with colleagues, the end. It can be, drank a litre of water today, could have drank more, really craved a lot of sweets today. But I think it's because I'm a week out of my period. Got to make sure that I look into that, all those sorts of things. So it can really open your eyes to perhaps an area of your health that you need to put a little bit more attention to. So that's another thing that journaling does. Now, another thing it does is it sparks creativity. So creativity occurs when we write how we feel and what's happened in the day. And by doing this, we are unlocking creativity and allowing the stream of consciousness to flow. And when that flows, we are opening a part of our mind that instigates that creative mind. So by just being in your thoughts and having words to explain how you're feeling really delves into that part of your brain that you may not necessarily use much in the day. So sparking creativity is a really good reason to journal on a daily basis. Now, the other thing it does, it actually creates confidence. You would never have imagined journaling would create confidence. And we all experience moments of good self-esteem and also self-doubt. We might be struggling with something, or we're not grasping a concept at school or whatever it is, and we're kind of self-doubting our ability to look through it. And the reality is that journaling encourages you to re-look at those moments where you've had self-esteem and positive experiences, which have then created the release of endorphins and other positive chemicals. So at the time of self-doubt, your journal is actually a moment where it can initiate a moment of reflection and look at, in actual fact, no, you know what, maybe I'm struggling a little bit with self-doubt right now, but looking at what I've done in the past, I actually know how to do this. And then that instigates that self-esteem and moving forward. So if you've never journaled, at the end of the day, you can obviously just get yourself a book, which is just got pages with lines on it, doesn't need to be fancy, and just start writing, date it and start writing. If you're struggling with even doing that, which I know can be really tough, there's three things I would encourage you to do. First of all, I want you to actually start your day by reading a positive self-help book. Now, it can only be, it can be for 20 minutes or 30 minutes. It doesn't matter. If you don't have much time in the morning, it might be even 15 minutes. It has to be a positive self-help book, and it has to be something that you're resonating with at this moment in your life. There are loads of books. Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway by Susan Jeffers, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, Loving What Is by Byron Katie, The Journey by Brandon Bays. There's so many books that are in circulation. That's just a couple that have come to my mind. And you look into it and you say, okay, is this resonating with where I'm at? One time I opened a book and it literally was such a famous book for positive self-help category. And I was literally getting a migraine from reading it. It was just not resonating with me at all. And I thought, you know what? I tried hard and I need to give this up because this is not the right one for me. Then I tried another one called Chronic Resistance, which was a book centered around chronic illness. And I thought, well, that might be an interesting book. You know, I've experienced chronic illness and, you know, interesting to see how other people get through their challenges around health. But the undertone to this book was very negative. The person writing it was really pissed off that they've had a chronic illness. And if you're in a different mindset where you're trying to lift yourself up and go, okay, I'm going to look at my experiences as a positive and look at what I can learn as opposed to the suffering I've had, then that wasn't resonating with me either. You know, and I read quite a few chapters and I just felt really down and depressed after reading it. And I thought, you know what, this book is not for me. And I still have it, but every time I look at it, I go, no, I'm not going to open that because of the undertone of the author. So the author has to resonate with where you're at. And if you start reading something and you're going, this is not what I'm all about right now, or this isn't where I'm at, you know, the Chronic Resistance might have been great for me 20 years ago. I might have found it useful, but right now where I'm at, it's not beneficial. So in actual fact, it's not something that I would look into reading. So you really need to make sure you find something that is encouraging progress and movement forward. You don't want to go back, you want to move forward. And so authors are like people, like everyone else. And just because you've written a book doesn't mean you spontaneously have great insight and knowledge into a subject. It just simply means that you're projecting your thoughts and feelings on a piece of paper and have bounded it into a book. So make sure that you are on par with the author, you're getting inspired, you feel inspired from it, and it's almost like you don't want to put that book down because it's making you feel that amazing. So read it every morning, and that really sets your day ahead to be quite positive. You're literally starting your day on the positive foot. You have a complete air of positivity and happiness and, you know, motivation, as opposed to, you know, dragging yourself out of bed and grabbing your coffee and here we go, another day, Groundhog Day, I'm just doing the same thing day in, day out. You know, it can get quite depressing and overwhelming. So by reading something like this, you are literally switching your mind to that positive mindset. And that gets you flowing into a routine and behavior that is positive for you as well. So that's the first thing. The second thing I want you to do at the end of the day is write 3 things you are grateful for. Now, these things can be anything. They can be, oh, I accomplished some tasks on my list. I had a delicious coffee that really hit the spot. It could be, oh, wow, I had a moment of complete insight into an area that I really was stuck on. It could be that, hey, you know what? I'm actually sitting down here and writing my 3 areas of gratitude, which I haven't been able to do. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be vast and extreme and insightful. It can be simply that, you know, you had a great chat with someone on public transport today. You bought a homeless person a cup of coffee, and that felt really good to be in a situation where I can go and do that and, you know, make that person's day a little bit easier, perhaps. So it can be anything. It doesn't have to be massive. It certainly doesn't have to be something that anyone else needs to know about and get, you know, acceptance or credit for. It's really just your own gratitude. Because when we are in that moment and that mind of gratitude, we do look at our circumstances from a completely different situation. Because in life, there's always someone that's going to be better than us in something, more successful, more intelligent, more whatever, more beautiful, more healthier, more fitter. I mean, really, that's kind of, you know, nature, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where other people are in their journey. It doesn't, because you're here for you and that's it. So when you are really focused on your own moments and your own gratitude and what you're experiencing that will create the positivity in your life that gets you moving forward, then that's what you need to be doing on a daily basis. Now, the final thing is, underneath your grateful comments, I want you to write one thing you can do better. Now, like I said, we all can do something better. You know, I didn't read my book this morning. I need to get up half an hour earlier, which means, you know what? I need to get to bed 2 hours earlier. I need an extra 2 hours sleep. I was exhausted today. I shouldn't answer emails after 7 p.m. I, need to stop all technology after, as soon as I get home. I won't watch TV after this period of time. Or, it could be anything. I'm going to grab a friend and go for a walk because I haven't been able to do enough physical activity. I didn't drink my 2 liters of water today, so I really want to get on top of that tomorrow and start on doing that. So it doesn't, again, have to be anything of a huge magnitude. It really is something that's simple and specific for where you are, because at the end of the day, you are the only person that you need to be doing this for. Because when you are healthy and you are positive, then that just ricochets out into everyone around you. It certainly is a ripple effect. And when you are down and feeling depressed and doubtful and, unsure, a lot of our circumstances can make us feel broken. In those situations, we then do attract those negative experiences around us too. So sometimes it's hard to flip that switch. I totally understand. We can really be stuck in that thought process of feeling broken, but these activities are really beneficial to flip that switch. So you don't initially have to do it yourself. For me, I find reading a great way to get out of those headspace moments. And I think when I read, as opposed to talking to someone, I can really create that change in me. And that's why I'm encouraging reading. But, it may not be for everyone, but I do certainly think give it a try. And if a book doesn't resonate, doesn't mean the reading's not right. It means the author is not delivering information that you need to listen to right now. You need to find what resonates. So what I do is simply get onto Booktopia and put in various topics, read the bio, maybe read a couple of pages if I'm able to, and then just see whether it resonates, and I order it. And sometimes, you might not read the whole thing. The Loving What Is by Byron Katie was amazing for me. It was so life-changing, but I only read a couple of chapters, and I recommend it to so many patients, and I've only read 2 chapters. So I clearly haven't read the entire book, but it's something that resonated with me, and I found benefit, and I was in speaking to patients, I find it beneficial for them to take that benefit as well. So it doesn't have to be something that you read from cover to cover, but then you might find something that you do read from cover to cover. Think and Grow Rich, I read from cover to cover. And it's not about rich as far as money, it's rich as far as, things in your life. And the biggest thing I came to realize with that book was that all these people that we see that are successful have never been successful overnight. They've had many failures over that period of time. But what makes them different to everyone else is their ability to pick themselves up and actually move forward and try again. And that's what is going to differentiate someone from being successful from someone to being, in a situation where they're struggling. So that's it for me for journaling. A very simple topic, a very easy to do. All you need is paper and a pen, and yet it has absolutely phenomenal outcome in your life. Phenomenal. I can't recommend it highly enough. And, I would simply just grab a piece of paper and pen and start. It's just amazing. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, whether you are someone who does journal or you've always thought about it but haven't actually known how to do it. Write in the comments or email me, info@salubre.com.au. And have a look at our website as well, www.salubre.com.au, and we'll have a lot of resources there for you to read and hopefully beneficial for various circumstances of your health. So that's bye for now, and I'll see you at the next episode of Salubrious Skin with Dr. Irene. Bye.